What are other replacements that you can kind of like swap a ketchup or something else for something healthier?
So in the Power 5, I use a lot of Harissa, which is a spicy North African chili paste. I think it comes from Tunisia, actually, originally, but there's lots of versions of it. I tell you how to make your own. Or you could buy it in a jar. It's delicious. There's a lot of tips in there about making your own stuff because, it's economical. If you make it yourself, you can make this huge batch and for the cost of buying a tiny little jar of something. But I love Harissa. It's got, it's spicy. It's got an olive oil base. I use a lot of yogurt. Yogurt's not one of the Power 5 foods, but it gets honorary mention. There's a study that came out a couple weeks ago that had its own Power 5, and yogurt was one of them.
Because of the probiotic?
Yeah, it's got probiotics, and just the studies show that people who are eating whole fat dairy products seem to do very well. Like there's studies that show there's no difference between people who eat whole fat dairy and low fat dairy. And this particular study is one of these international studies, and these cultures where they have more dairy, like in the Greeks eat a lot of yogurt, and one of the blue zones is in Greece. So it seems to be an association there. But I have my own recipe for making labna, which is a Middle Eastern yogurt, but it's a little more lemony in flavor. And I like to use that as a substitute for cream too. It's lower in fat, but it's very rich. So I mix it into all kinds of sauces or put it on a plate and lay vegetables over it. But my main, miso is another thing I use sometimes.
The Japanese.
Yes, it's just like it's a fermented rice usually, and has a lot of umami, so it has a lot of flavor, and it adds a creamy texture to things. So I've got a recipe in there for a pasta with miso, or I have a really cool recipe. Sometimes you don't need to add anything to add cream, so I have a really cool recipe for creamed corn.
Oh wow!
And you wouldn't think that I would eat cream corn or recommend cream corn because you think that's like a really unhealthy thing. But in my version, it's corn, a little bit of onion, water, salt, and some olive oil. And then you can add miso if you want. Super simple. But what you're doing, I teach you how to do is extract a lot of flavor.